Welcome, Jamison.
Thank you, Afshan. Great to be here.
Yeah.
First time in Romania.
How was that first experience when you land versus what you hear about a country and what you see? You know, you always hear about countries and then you land. And how was that experience for you?
That was great. So coming from Geneva, where we spent some time together, and then landing in Romania, I noticed the beautiful architecture, very French sort of influenced a bit. Food was fantastic, or is fantastic. We had a great dinner the first night, so that kind of set the tone. And of course, yesterday was a wonderful day together, sharing coffees, ideas, and experiences. So off to a great start here in Romania.
Yeah. So you've just come from Geneva, yeah, from the world of coffee.
Just came from Geneva. Placed second in the SIGs, so we're proud of that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So this is yeah.
So
Actually, yeah, from I know this from Sash. That second place in which competition?
SIGs. So this is coffee and good spirits. So he used Iris Estate. He used a real, it's a natural carbonic macerated washed finished Geisha. And he placed second. He's actually been in the worlds several times and placed in the top 5, I think, every time, 4 times to be exact. So we were pulling for him, but he did get second. So it was close. So we'll have to see him next year, hopefully.
Was it an exciting world of coffee? How was it this year in Geneva compared to Copenhagen last year?
It was good. It was good. It was primarily coffee professionals. Sometimes when you go to the shows, you get a nice broad swath of, retail people, wholesale buyers, and interested people, curious people. This time it was pretty much professionals.
Yeah,
So, but it was good. It was well attended, and we had a nice time.
great. Well, you're here in Romania because of Sasha and Project Origin. That's how the connection has happened. So we're having our first event in Romania where we have so many amazing producers in one space, which is quite unique for us. And it's called Green Connect, and it's hosted by Artisan Green Bean, which is us, and together with Project Origin. And we've been talking to Sash from, I think it was last year when I was in Brazil with him, and we're like, we got to do something to see what we can do, especially in Europe, to put a little bit, to bring Project Origin closer to the roasters. And I thought it was a long shot when we were trying to talk to him. And I was like, how am I going to bring 4 producers in and organize this? And right after World of Coffee Geneva, where also we have, all the great roasters there participating. So I was a little bit nervous that we won't get also the producers, but also the roasters to come in.
Yeah.
But once again, thanks a lot for the effort, because I know you guys are like, everybody wants you everywhere. It's kind of like,
Busy
when you're on top of the pyramid in coffee or in any industry, everybody wants to have you come in because it's a wonderful experience.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for hosting us. This has been an amazing experience. So Sasha and I have a long history together, as most people know. And he invited me to come to Artisan. And I'm glad I accepted the opportunity to be here, because we've met some amazing roasters, green buyers as well. Of course, we've had the opportunity to get to know each other as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity here in Romania and this side of the world. So, as a producer that travels a lot throughout the year, I wanted to make it a point to be here because, as I mentioned, this is the first time I've been here. So this is a space, it's time. So bringing these coffees to this region is exciting for me. Gives me an opportunity also to come to Romania for the first time and share these coffees with your discerning roasters and cafe owners. So I'm happy to do it, and it's always a pleasure seeing new places.
Tell me a little bit about how things started with Sash. I mean, the friendship part.
Yeah.
And everything usually in our world, it doesn't actually start as a business.
Right.
So I'm curious about how things started with you and Sash.
Yeah, that's a great question. So
Iris, especially, really Iris, because he after you guys met, then Iris, from what I know, Iris came together.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So what happened was Sash won WBC 2015. I think it was Portland, Oregon. He immediately hopped on an airplane and wanted to start buying coffee at Origin. I didn't know anything about barista competitions. I didn't know anything about that scene. I was focused on coffee production. And I got a call from, I think it was Chino, actually. He may have come in through Chino.
Yes, far I know, yes.
Chino called me up and said, hey, I've got somebody you probably want to meet. He just won the WBC. He was pretty excited about it. And at the time, I was like, yeah, that's great. I bring him over. Didn't think much of it. But immediately when I spent time with Saj, we connected right away. It's just how things are. When you meet somebody who's kind of on the same frequency, thinks the same way you do. So we immediately struck up a friendship. But he enjoyed the coffees on the table as well. And I think he spent maybe 2 hours with me and said, listen, I know you've sold everything this year, but I want to come back next year. But it just so happened to be that we had Berg Wu, who was going to be competing for WBC that June. And this is 2016, by the way. So early 2016 is when we met. I think it was in March. So things evolved, and Berg Wu decided to use our coffee in June in Dublin, Ireland, and he took first place on the WBC. Well, Sasha was there as well. And we continued to dial in our relationship and friendship, and one thing led to another, and it was just inevitable. We just created this great friendship, but also a good business relationship built on trust. He and I have a very similar focus when it comes to excellence in coffee, but also in our personal lives. We both are athletes. We're both competitors. We're both raging entrepreneurs, for better or worse. But we enjoy what we do, and we have passion for what we do. So when you meet someone like that, you immediately become kind of connected at the hip in some way. But because of our common interest in coffee, we've continued to develop our professional relationship as well. And in 2017, I said to Sash, hey, I think I'd like to take you to a new piece of land I'm looking at. And I don't buy coffee farms, at least not right now. I develop coffee farms, I create them from scratch. And I do that for numerous reasons, because coffee farms are incredibly complex ecosystems. And it's very easy to make mistakes on a coffee farm by using the wrong applications. Sometimes you can plant the wrong varieties, numerous things. So anyway, I did invite Sasha up to this piece of property that I was intent on buying anyway. And I said, what do you think of this piece of property? And this was after we'd gone on a very long hike. And I said, do you want to be a part of it? And he goes, yeah, let's do it. And I sort of threw a caveat out there. I said, look, coffee farms, there's no guarantee. You know, we're not going to taste this coffee for at least 5 years, probably. And there are a lot of risks involved with this. The economic risk, there's government risk, there is societal risk, and all these things in foreign countries. I want you to know I'll do my best efforts as a partner, but there are a lot of things that I can't control. And I just want to put that out there. Are you sure you want to do this? And he's like, let's do it. We got to do it. So we started. We actually started that fall. I had already planted germinated the seeds. So Iris Estate is seeded with Deborah genetics. And so I was already ready, teed up to plant these coffee trees regardless. We planted in 2017. We planted in 18, and I believe it was in 20 was the last tranche. So it's taken us a long time to not only taste the coffees, but to dial in the coffees on the process side, but also get production. So the coffees are now scoring well over 90. I mean, we're into the mid 90s in many cases. And we're cash flow positive this year. So it took some time. But it's the kind of trust that we built as partners, as friends, companions. So in a nutshell, that's how I met Sash. That's how our relationship has evolved. And now we're here in Romania. I guess that would make almost 10 years that we've been working together. During that time, and I'll just add parenthetically, the carbonic maceration process was shared in 2000, I believe it was 16. And that sparked a coffee production revolution around the world and really elevated coffee to another place. And throughout these years, we've continued to develop processes that have won countless national championships. And last year, we did very well in the WBC with these alternatively processed coffees as well. So it's been a fruitful relationship, both economically, but also on a personal level for me.
Very nice. So I'm a little bit curious about, Panama. Panama for me is like so different than any other origin.
Mm-hmm.
And in the recent years, we've seen 90 plus how they started and how they took things on a new level. And I've kind of like seen like the Panama scene, how it's been evolving, and then Best of Panama, of course, and all these things with the Best of Panama. What I'm trying to get to is, Panama coffee prices are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the geishas. The geishas are totally in a different ballpark than any other geisha in any other origin.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get here to terroir. I have to a little bit talk about terroir and why is Panama? What makes Panama so special? What is it? Because you're a farmer. You're applied farmer. You don't just own a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you in your farm. You actually you're really in it. So what makes Panama so special? And especially when you say this year we're cash positive. From the outside,
Mm-hmm.
the people who are buying Panama, they're like, you're milking it.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Panamanian producers are rich.
Yeah.
Rich by a simple definition, and that is that maybe they have big bank accounts. That is not the case, actually. The coffee production business is an extremely complicated, difficult business. In retrospect, if I knew then what I know now, we may not be sitting here. It's through a series of failures and successes that I'm here, and believe me, it's been a wild ride with lots of peaks and valleys. But let's start with prices. Let's talk about prices first. Prices are subjective. So what do I mean by that? I mean that you're going to consider something of more value, perhaps, than something I would consider a value. And so when we talk about prices, the producers aren't the ones pulling the strings. These are actually the consumers or the buyers that decide what they want to pay for something. So that brings us out of we're the ones responsible for this amazing price per pound or per kilo. The other thing is moving on to terroir. Terroir, I think, is probably 60 to 65%, is maybe even as high as 70% of cup quality. So I'm just a producer of these coffees, and I have this privilege of being a producer. It's been a wonderful experience for me. But at the end of the day, let's just say it's 70% of cup quality is terroir. I am left with the remaining maybe 20%. People like yourself are responsible for the remaining 10%. But every person in this chain is deeply responsible for the inevitable quality of that cup, which makes this industry unique. So we're all in on this, and it all has to come together in this beautiful ballet, so to speak. Everyone has to play their role on time and execute perfectly for it to work. So I'm a player in this, obviously. I am the producer, but there are many, many players involved, both on the ground with me, my team, and ultimately when you receive the coffee, you're roasting it, you've got to grind it, you have to brew it, all of these things with all the right tools, the right water, and the expertise. So at the end of the day, what makes Panama so special? I think we're blessed with incredible terroir because the producers in Colombia or Ethiopia or Nicaragua or wherever it might be, we're not splitting atoms here. This is discipline, and it's consistency is what really makes the difference. But the terroir is critically important, and with that terroir that we're blessed with, we're able to produce these amazing coffees that you enjoy.
Oh, well, that's quite wonderful to hear. A little bit also to understand better Panama. Another thing I wanted to ask you, which I think is like really wonderful, how the Panama Geisha crew and everywhere like the Panama Geisha, when I go to World of Coffee or anything, they're so united, they're so tight packed,
Yeah.
which is again something quite unique for Panama for me. The way they present themselves. Okay, when I was in Panama and I was visiting, I can't remember what farm, but we cupped some coffees, but they didn't have any coffees. And they were like, but I can take you to the next farm.
Right.
Maybe they have some coffees.
Right.
So you have this unity in Panama, within that, in the coffee community, which is quite unique, which
It is unique.
I haven't seen that in other areas the way.
Or even industries.
Industries, yeah.
So
how does that come about? How did that come about, this?
yeah, it's a great point. And I hear this a lot. And I think that primarily it's because Panama is the undisputed, king of Geisha or queen of Geisha. But we're a teeny tiny country. Our production is infinitesimal. And so as producers, we, in a way, unite around what it is that we're all trying to accomplish, which is maintain our significance and our quality in our coffees. We know that if we tear each other down, we're only hurting ourselves, cutting off our nose to spite our face. And so when we talk about the beautiful story of Geisha and how it became successful, how it became prominent, it includes all of the producers. There's not one producer that has specifically done it all or deserves the most credit. So, from the very beginning that Geisha was rediscovered in 2004 through Daniel Peterson and the Peterson family, his risk-taking, the family's risk-taking, through the, 6 years while I was considering and deciding what I wanted to do with my land, because I'd bought Deborah in 2005, the land anyway, they were developing the market together. And it was, pricing shifted radically. It became very interesting for producers. Ricardo Coiner, Lamastus, Ruiz, all of these old families had the wherewithal and the intelligence to work together to create an amazing coffee that every year, I think, and I know, is getting better and better. And there's really no room for dissent when it comes to tearing each other down. We won't tolerate it. And we know that collectively, and I mean that in a polite way, not in the maybe normally defined word of collective, we know we're stronger together. And as corny as that sounds, we all respect each other. And we may not want to sit around and have a few beers together all of the time, but make no mistake, we have a common objective. And that common objective is to be the best. And also, if you look at the leadership, I guess, in Panama when it comes to coffee, highly educated, sophisticated people that build business. They have an entrepreneurial spirit about them. They know how to win. They know how to sacrifice and take risks. So, in a nutshell,
I want to get a little bit into this rabbit hole, going down to this entrepreneurial talk and also your background before coffee. I mean, I had the opportunity to talk with you. I found this out when I was with you here. Yesterday, we were talking about the sea markets and how it works. And today, on a white piece of paper, you put down to me a few advices, which for me was like fascinating. And I mean, tell me a little bit about before coffee. I mean,
before coffee, I managed money on a private level. I had my own investment firm. I was a registered investment advisor in Naples, Florida. So I was dealing with high net worth individuals, institutions, people who were looking to hedge risk. And at the end, I was really a risk manager more than anything else. And I was in Panama for a real estate deal that I had put together, a private deal. And throughout that experience, which was a few years, I became very comfortable in Panama. I liked Panama. I enjoyed being around the people. I liked the freedom of Panama, the cleanliness of Panama in the sense clean food, clean water, clean skies. And I thought, I think it's time to get into agriculture. And I'm comfortable in Panama. It was time to allocate some of our personal resources into a foreign country, aside from the real estate. And agriculture historically is an excellent hedge against inflation, which properly defined is the increase in the money supply and credit, money printing. And that's the way most people understand it. And that's actually the real definition. So one way to protect one's interests monetarily is to hedge against a declining currency. And one of the best ways historically is to allocate into agriculture, agriculture tends to float on top of the increase in the money supply and credit. So I decided it was either, I'd narrowed it down to peppers, onions, tomatoes, and coffee. And,
Thank God it was coffee, huh?
onions didn't really thrill me. I enjoyed coffee at the time. I didn't have a true affinity for coffee like I do now, or passion for it, of course. I did the research and realized this is what I want to do. I want to do coffee.
You're still active in the financial markets? Are you still working around that area?
It's always been a passion of mine. It still is. I do not I collect fees for investment advice. I freely give it.
I got it
so
today.
You take it for what it's worth, right? But at the end of the day, every decision that we really make in this world is an economic choice. Time is money. And so, yes, I'm still very active. I still stay in tuned, nowhere near like I used to. But if you're talking about stock markets and things of this sort, I don't personally allocate our capital into the stock markets or really any markets anymore. My thesis at this point is to own tangible assets, income-producing assets. And that has served us well over the last
How do you see money?
years.
How was money for you? I mean, as being a financial guy, coming with this background, working with money actually, and not how do you see money?
Well, this is a really great question. And it's a big question. What is money? So money has a specific definition. It actually has several points to it. It's fungible. It's
What does that mean,
transferable.
fungible?
It means that I can give you $5 and you'll give me
Okay.
several dollars back.
Okay.
It's easy to use. That's why man created money for the most part, because you can't trade a cow for, a field of wheat.
Yeah.
So it's transportable. It's a store of value. Well, and this begs the question, well, money really isn't a store of value anymore, is it? So, and the question is why? Well, this is why I decided to do a coffee farm, because deficit spending by governments create an inflationary environment, and currencies tend to lose what we call purchasing power.
We lose the value of our money we have in our accounts.
And it requires more of those paper tickets, which is referred to as fiat money. This is money that's backed by nothing. So money is the full faith and credit of the government in which it represents. So there are ways to protect oneself against declining currency, and one of them is through agriculture. I chose coffee, and I'm really glad that I did. It changed me in a lot of ways, but I fell in love with coffee after I actually tasted our own coffee. That's when I became really passionate about coffee. Up until then, I had fallen in love with agriculture. So I fell in love with agriculture first, and then I fell in love with coffee.
Yeah, when we thought about coffee, because I come from an IT background, computers, and when we fell in love with, when we looked at coffee, me and my wife, which we're in the business together, we looked at the social part, the human part, so interactions. We wanted to interact with people. Within IT, we weren't interacting with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And first time we did a coffee shop, it was about the people. How is that for you? For me, it's like super important, the people in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and meeting the people, and not just like producer, importer or something. Up to the coffee shop,
Yeah.
the impact it has, the social impact coffee shops
amazing.
have on communities, which we work a lot on. We're really focused on local communities. Our own coffee shop is in a local community nearby here. And we focus on our neighbors, the people we know around us, to get to know them and to use the coffee shop as a place where people gather. Because people are communicating less and less.
Yeah.
And although we're connected, we're deconnected. And that was, for us, was the attraction. How is that for you? Because you being on top of the game, and once you get into competitions and getting your coffee to the level, everybody wants to meet you, everybody wants to have you. How is that social part for you? Does it get tiring?
No.
Or is it like exciting all the time?
No, it's exciting all the time because I'm passionate about my product. I'm passionate about my work. I'm passionate about agriculture. And I meet incredibly interesting people all over the world. And what's not to love about that? And I get to do it every day. So when I'm not doing that, I'm on the farm, which is a huge passion of mine, production, processing, making our coffees better and better every year. So the social aspect of it is, like you, I was behind a computer most of the time. I spent a lot of days behind that computer. In retrospect, I can't believe I spent so much time behind a computer, to be honest with you. I look at it now as a prison. But I mean, if you want to become a social person, open a coffee shop, because coffee is a morning ritual for a lot of people, and it does bring people together. And if that's something that you're into and want to be involved in, open a coffee shop for sure. But for me as a producer, coming to the coffee shops that have our coffees and putting on a class or sharing the coffee with just regular people is always an immense joy for me, because a lot of times people have never tasted coffees like this. And so to see their face light up after they've experienced a cup of Finca Deborah or Iris Estate, I mean, that's just icing on the cake for me. So yeah, I have stumbled into a career that is not only pleasurable on a daily basis because of the farm or the travel or meeting the people, but it's very, very fulfilling. I feel like I've definitely found what I'm supposed to be doing.
That sounds great. So how do you see Panama in 10 years? Panama coffee, how do you see it in 10 years?
Yeah. So Panama has kind of led the tip of the spear, or is the tip of the spear when it comes to the Geisha variety. But there will be other varieties. There will be other coffees, land races or varietals down the road that may supplant Geisha. I'm on the hunt. We have now Sidra that we planted at Iris Estate, 2,000 meters to 2,100. This coffee is extraordinary. And we're the first to have done that at Iris Estate in Panama. And so we're just releasing that coffee this year, actually. So after, 8 years, we finally have some commercial production. I think in total we have 5 boxes on 5 hectares. Another interesting F1 variety is Cassiopeia. We planted that on Deborah 3 years ago. After 2 years in the ground, we actually have production. So we've tasted that coffee. That's very exciting. So in 10 years, because of the innovation that producers in Panama have, they're very inventive. They're very resourceful and creative, very competitive. We share ideas. I think Panama will continue to run the leaderboard for quite some time. Maybe it won't be 10 years, maybe it will be. But as long as I'm engaged, I can assure you it probably will be in the top 3 for a while. I'm extremely competitive. And as I've mentioned before, the cohesion that we have in Panama is unique and different. So we have a vision for what we want in Panama, and that is to grow and produce coffees of excellence and of the highest order.
One of my last questions, we're going to wrap it up soon, is Europe. The reason we invited you here is not just Romania. It's about giving access to Finca Deborah, Iris, and Project Origin coffees in Europe to make it more accessible and easier for the roasters to buy. Europe has the history of coffee, espresso, everything, roots from here. And we're in a very interesting market because of language barriers as well. I mean, I go through this trying to connect to Greeks, trying to connect to Swedes, Danes, from Holland. And one of the things is the culture, what kind of coffees they drink, how they drink it. Then you have the language barrier. My question is, what I feel in Europe, things are slow. That's my opinion. We sell espresso coffees, that's great. We know the naturals, they work great. But when you're talking about your coffees, today Sash made me a coffee using your coffee. And I was just like, and it was an espresso. It was one of the best cups I had. And he didn't really dial in and have time to do it. He just have a little bag but automatically you see a different coffee there. Why Europe is so, how come all the coffees are going to Asia? Why 80% of good coffee is going to Asia, and Europe is not in the forefront of coffee in that sense? And how can we do?
Well,
I mean, what can be done to?
I think that the Europeans are doing a magnificent job with our coffees. And we are prevalent across Europe. I think that more than anything, that there's an economic challenge in Europe right now. I think that a lot of people would prefer to be drinking Deborah or Iris or Morgan or Don Eduardo Estate coffee. It's a matter of economics. And I think, not to deviate from our topic, but I think that Europe is heavily regulated. I think Europe's overregulated to the point where something's got to give. And it's not just with coffee. And I think that people are to the point where they're asking a lot of questions about the efficacy of some of the things that are happening. So I think that it's economic more than anything. I think we would see a much greater prevalence or presence of Panamanian geishas and some of these beautiful Colombians and these beautiful Ethiopians that you have. We'd see them everywhere. But I think it's an economic problem. And I think it's rooted in maybe some overregulation that needs to be looked at.
One of my favorite questions. Would you ever see a world of coffee in Romania?
I would think that it's very possible. Yeah. I think that there's no reason not to.
Great. Well, thank you once again very much for being with us.
Pleasure.
Obviously, we'd love to have you again to come to Romania or to the region. I wouldn't just say Romania because it wouldn't be fair. To other countries around us, we got the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, even Bulgaria. I've been recently. For us, it's special and unique. It is really, for years of working in coffee every year to get better and better, and to work on one side with some of the best roasters. Romania has the world roasting champion in 2016. We have the vice champion, which is Bogdan Georgescu, and we have also other guys who've placed them. Just Paul in Ibric. He just got the second place this year at the World of Coffee. So Romania is very competitive. This we know. Yeah. So we like to win.
100%.
Even we host the AeroPress, and even the AeroPress is taken seriously.
Yeah.
So we have a very good coffee community. And we're trying to push that in the front on a world level, but also the region. The region, it's underscored, underappreciated, and they're we call them hidden gems.
Completely agree.
We'd love to have you. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, and you can count on it. I have every intention of helping you grow this region, not just Romania. I think that there's a huge opportunity here, and I've always been warmly received, and it's been a pleasure in every country that I've been to on this side of Europe, and we're going to continue to come back. There's no question about it.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.